The genesis of SubZero. In the heart of Winterhaven, a town cradled by snow-capped mountains and whispering pines, lay Eternum Labs. It was here, amid beakers and flickering computer screens, that Ethan Frost, a 21-year-old with an insatiable curiosity for genetics, found his calling. The son of pioneering geneticists, Ethan had grown up in the lab's shadow, his childhood filled with tales of DNA and the potential locked within the human genome. Ethan's parents, Doctors Jonathan and Marie Frost, were at the forefront of genetic mutation research. They believed in a future where humanity could transcend its limitations, drawing upon the very essence of nature to cure, enhance, and evolve. Eternum Labs was their sanctuary, a place where science danced on the edge of the possible and the imagined. It was a typical frosty morning when Ethan's life took a turn into the extraordinary. The lab was unusually quiet, the stillness a prelude to the day's events. Ethan, eager to assist his parents in their latest experiment, was among the first to arrive. The experiment aimed to unlock latent genetic potentials through a serum derived from the DNA of Earth's most resilient organisms. The accident was as unexpected as it was transformative. A momentary lapse, a fumble with a vial of the experimental serum, and suddenly, Ethan was enveloped in a cloud of shimmering mist. The serum, designed to be administered in controlled doses, reacted unpredictably with Ethan's unique genetic makeup. The transformation was immediate and profound. Ethan fell to the ground, his body convulsing under the serum's power, ice crystals forming on his skin, his breath turning the air before him to frost. The lab erupted into chaos, his parents rushing to his side, fearing the worst. Yet as the mist cleared, Ethan stood up, changed. His eyes, once a warm brown, now gleamed like polished ice, and his veins pulsed with the unmistakable power of winter. In the days that followed, Ethan grappled with his new identity. The serum had unlocked something primal, something powerful within him. He discovered he could command the elements of winter, shaping ice and snow with mere thought. But it was his connection to the mythical frost dragon, born from the same serendipitous accident, that truly marked the dawn of SubZero. The dragon, a majestic creature of lore made real, found its way to Ethan, drawn by their shared bond. It was as if the fates had decreed their union, a guardian and his steed, protectors of Winterhaven. Ethan embraced his new role with a resolve that belied his years. SubZero was more than a moniker. It was a promise to stand against the darkness threatening his home. As word of SubZero and his frost dragon spread, the people of Winterhaven looked to the skies with hope. Yet not all eyes that watched were friendly. Malcolm Drake, leader of the nefarious Inferno Corp, saw in Ethan's transformation not a miracle, but a challenge to his own ambitions. The stage was set for a conflict that would test the very soul of Winterhaven. Ethan Frost's journey from an inquisitive youth to the guardian known as SubZero was nothing short of miraculous. It was a testament to the unexpected paths life can take and the heroes born from the unlikeliest of circumstances. But as Ethan would soon learn, with great power comes not just responsibility, but also adversaries eager to claim that power for themselves. The Awakening and Alliance. The first rays of dawn had barely kissed the horizon when Ethan, now SubZero, ventured into the wilderness surrounding Winterhaven. The world felt different to him. The snow beneath his feet whispered secrets, and the chill in the air was a comforting embrace rather than a bitten cold. With each step, he felt more attuned to the winter around him, a symphony of ice and snow responding to his newfound command. It was in this solitude that he first heard it, a low, resonant call that seemed to echo the very essence of winter. Drawn by a force he couldn't explain, Ethan found himself at the edge of an ancient forest, where the trees stood as silent witnesses to centuries past. And there, amid a clearing bathed in the ethereal glow of the morning light, lay the frost dragon. The creature was unlike anything Ethan had ever seen, its scales shimmering with 1,000 shades of blue and white, its breath a mist that turned the air to frost. For a moment, Ethan stood in awe, the reality of the creature before him challenging the boundaries of his scientific mind. This was no genetic anomaly or a trick of the light. This was magic, real, and breathing. As if sensing Ethan's presence, the frost dragon lifted its head, its eyes meeting his. In that gaze, Ethan found not the ferocity of a predator, but a kindred spirit, a guardian bound to him by the serendipitous accident that had altered their fates. The dragon rose, majestic and proud, and Ethan knew, without a word spoken, that they were meant to journey together. Back in Winterhaven, the news of SubZero and his mythical ally spread like wildfire. Whispers of their guardian spread hope among the townsfolk, a beacon of light against the encroaching shadows. Yet, for Ethan, this alliance was more than a partnership. It was a reflection of his very soul, a mirror to the courage and resolve that now defined him. As winter turned to spring, Ethan and the Frost Dragon forged a bond built on mutual respect and a shared purpose. They patrolled the skies above Winterhaven, a vigilant eye against threats, both seen and unseen. Together, they were a symbol of resilience, a reminder that from the coldest of winters could come the strongest of protectors. But as the guardian of Winterhaven embraced his role, a darkness brewed on the horizon. Malcolm Drake, envious of Ethan's powers and the affection he garnered from the people of Winterhaven, sought to challenge the balance. In the bowels of Inferno Corp, a counterforce was being created, one that would test the very limits of Ethan's resolve and the strength of his bond with the Frost Dragon. The stage was set for a conflict that would not only decide the fate of Winterhaven, but also the true nature of power and the cost of standing in defense of those who cannot protect themselves. For Ethan, the awakening of his powers and the alliance with the Frost Dragon were but the first steps on a journey that would lead him into the heart of darkness and back, a path fraught with challenges but also with the potential for greatness. The rise of a Nemesis. In the underbelly of Winterhaven, away from the watchful eyes of its guardians, Malcolm Drake's ambition smoldered like embers waiting to ignite. Inferno Corp, his brainchild, stood as a beacon of industrial progress to the outside world. But beneath its polished exterior lay a darker purpose. Drake, fueled by envy and an insatiable lust for power, saw in Ethan's transformation an opportunity to ascend beyond the confines of mere humanity. Drake's obsession with Ethan, now known to the world as SubZero, drove him to the fringes of arcane and forbidden sciences. It was within these shadowed realms that he found his answer, a counterforce, a nemesis to the protector of Winterhaven. The creation of Dragon Knight was Drake's magnum opus, a warrior forged in the flames of Drake's vengeance and ambition, endowed with the power of a fire dragon, born of the same mystical energies that had given rise to SubZero's Frost Dragon. Dragon Knight, real name Victor Hale, was once a decorated soldier, his prowess on the battlefield unmatched, his loyalty to his cause unwavering. But Drake's promises of power and retribution twisted Hale's resolve, morphing it into a weapon aimed at the heart of Winterhaven. The fire dragon, a creature of fury and flame, became Hale's to command, a mirror to the Frost Dragon's icy majesty. As spring gave way to summer, the warmth brought more than just respite from the cold. It heralded the arrival of Dragon Knight and his fire dragon, their presence an ominous portent for the battles to come. Their first confrontation with SubZero was not just a clash of ice and fire, but of ideals and wills. Ethan, upon hearing of Dragon Knight's emergence, felt the weight of his responsibility heavier than ever. The town that had become his charge, the people who looked up to him as their guardian, now faced a new and potentially devastating threat. Yet in the face of this challenge, Ethan's resolve only hardened. SubZero and his frost dragon took to the skies, their bond a shield against the coming storm. The townsfolk of Winterhaven, their lives once again disrupted by forces beyond their understanding, watched as their serene existence was replaced by a battleground. The confrontation between SubZero and Dragon Knight was not just a spectacle of power, but a fight for the soul of their town. The battle was fierce, the air around them charged with the power of their respective dragons. Ice and fire clashed, steam and frost hanging in the balance, a testament to the struggle between two opposing forces of nature. It was a battle that would set the stage for their saga, a prelude to an even greater conflict that loomed on the horizon. As the dust settled and the two adversaries took measure of each other, Ethan realized that the path ahead would be fraught with danger. Dragon Knight, though vanquished in their initial encounter, represented a threat not just to him, but to the very ideals he stood for. The battle lines were drawn, and Winterhaven found itself at the center of an elemental war, with SubZero and his frost dragon at the heart of the storm. First contact. Winterhaven's tranquility was pierced by the echoes of the first clash between SubZero and Dragon Knight. News of their battle spread through the town like wildfire, igniting fear, awe, and speculation among its residents. Ethan, aware of the growing unrest, knew he had to reassure his community. He made a public appearance, not as Ethan Frost, but as SubZero, his identity now interwoven with the town's fate. He addressed the townsfolk from the town square, a figure of ice and resolve against the setting sun. His voice, calm and steady, spoke of unity and the strength to withstand the darkness encroaching on their home. It was a moment that solidified his place in the hearts of Winterhaven's people, not just as a guardian, but as a symbol of their collective will to persevere. Meanwhile, Malcolm Drake and Victor Hale retreated into the shadows, their first defeat a bitter pill. Drake's ambition, however, remained undeterred. He saw potential in the loss, a means to refine their strategy and strengthen Dragon Knight. The fire dragon, too, seemed to simmer with a renewed fury, its flames burning ever brighter, ever more dangerous. In the weeks that followed, the tension in Winterhaven grew. SubZero's patrols became more frequent, a silent guardian weaving through the night, his frost dragon a spectral presence above. Ethan trained relentlessly, pushing the boundaries of his powers, preparing for the inevitable rematch. The frost dragon, sensing the urgency, stood by his side, a steadfast ally in the looming storm. The town's defenders, a militia of volunteers led by Ethan's childhood friend Lucas, began to organize. Lucas, inspired by Ethan's courage, rallied the townsfolk, ensuring that if the battle came to their doorsteps, they would not stand idly by. Winterhaven was not just a town to be defended, it was a community, a family united against a common threat. As the season turned, the air grew crisp with the approach of fall, and with it, the inevitable confrontation drew near. Dragon Knight re-emerged, more formidable than before, his control over fire refined by Drake's relentless experiments. The fire dragon, too, mirrored its master's growth, its flames now capable of scorching the very earth it touched. The stage was set for a confrontation that would eclipse their first battle, a clash that would test not just the might of SubZero and Dragon Knight, but the resilience of Winterhaven itself. Ethan, standing at the edge of town, the frost dragon by his side, gazed into the distance, knowing the time had come to face his nemesis once again. The air chilled, a prelude to the battle, as Dragon Knight and his fire dragon approached, a silhouette against the setting sun. SubZero stepped forward, the frost dragon unfurling its wings, a silent challenge to the encroaching flames. Winterhaven held its breath, the fate of their town, their protector, hanging in the balance. The battle of elements. The cold night air of Winterhaven was charged with anticipation and fear as the townsfolk retreated to the safety of their homes. Windows shuttered and prayers whispered for the safety of their guardian, SubZero. The town square, once bustling with life, stood empty, bathed in the eerie glow of the moonlight, a silent witness to the impending storm. On the outskirts of Winterhaven, the ground trembled under the might of the approaching fire dragon, its scales glowing like molten lava, a beacon of destruction in the dark. Atop this beast rode Dragon Knight, his armor ablaze with ethereal flames, a stark contrast to the icy figure waiting in the heart of the town. SubZero, with a calm that belied the storm raging within him, stood ready. The frost dragon, its breath crystallizing the air around it, roared a challenge that echoed through the silent streets, a call to battle that was eagerly answered by its fiery counterpart. As the two dragons collided, the sky lit up with an explosion of ice and fire, a spectacle of raw elemental fury. The clash was not just a display of their powers, but a dance of strategy and precision. Each blow countered, each advance met with resistance. Ethan, drawing upon his deepening bond with the frost dragon, maneuvered with an agility that matched the fire dragon's ferocity. Below, the ground became a chessboard of frost and flame, the once snowy pavements now a mix of ice sculptures and scorched earth. Ethan, channeling the essence of winter, unleashed a barrage of ice shards, each aimed with precision. Dragon Knight, undeterred, responded with streams of fire, his control over the flame honed to perfection. The battle raged, neither side yielding, a testament to their resolve and the depth of their powers. Ethan, pushing the limits of his abilities, found new strength in the connection with the frost dragon, their synergy a force to be reckoned with. Together, they wove through the onslaught, a beacon of hope in the face of destruction. As the night wore on, the tide of battle shifted. SubZero, tapping into the deepest reserves of his power and guided by the wisdom of the frost dragon, unleashed a storm of ice unlike any seen before. The air turned to a blizzard, the snow swirling with ferocious intensity, a whiteout that enveloped the fire dragon and its rider. Dragon Knight, caught in the heart of the storm, fought valiantly. But the blizzard quenched the flames, the ice encasing his armor, weighing him down. The fire dragon, its flames dimmed, struggled against the frost, a mighty creature brought to its knees by the relentless cold. In the final moments as the storm abated, SubZero approached his fallen adversary, the frost dragon by his side. The battle was won, but the victory was not without cost. The town square, once the heart of Winterhaven, lay in ruins, a reminder of the battle's ferocity. Ethan, extending a hand to Dragon Knight, offered a chance for redemption, a gesture of mercy that spoke volumes of his character. "Let this end," he urged, "not with enmity, but with understanding. Let us rebuild not just the town, but ourselves." Dragon Knight, humbled and defeated, accepted the offer, his gaze locked with Ethan's, a silent vow to rise from the ashes of defeat. The fire dragon, too, sensing the shift in its master's heart, lowered its head, a sign of truce to the frost dragon. As dawn broke, the first light of morning revealing the extent of the night's devastation, Winterhaven awoke to a new day. SubZero and his frost dragon, standing amidst the ruins, were not just guardians, but symbols of resilience, of the power of compassion over conflict. The battle of elements had ended, but the journey of SubZero, the guardian of Winterhaven, was far from over. It was a tale of ice and snow, fire and redemption, woven into the fabric of a world forever changed by their passage. Aftermath and redemption, the sun rose over Winterhaven, casting light on the remnants of the night's fierce battle. Buildings bore scars of ice and flame, a testament to the elemental war that had raged through the streets. Yet, amidst the destruction, There was a palpable sense of unity and hope among the townsfolk as they emerged from their homes. They gathered in the town square, not just to witness the aftermath, but to stand together, ready to rebuild. Ethan, alongside Dragon Knight, addressed the gathered crowd. His voice, once the herald of winter's might, now carried a message of peace and reconstruction. "Last night, we were tested," he began, his gaze sweeping over the faces of his fellow citizens. "But it was not just a test of strength. It was a test of our spirit, our ability to come together in the face of adversity." Dragon Knight, his identity revealed to be Victor Hale, stood silently by Ethan's side, his presence a symbol of the newfound truce between fire and ice. The animosity that had once driven him to confront SubZero was replaced with a solemn understanding of the destruction that their conflict had wrought. In the days that followed, Winterhaven transformed. The townsfolk, inspired by Ethan and Victor's alliance, worked tirelessly to repair their town. Buildings were restored, streets cleaned, and in every corner of Winterhaven the spirit of community shone brightly. SubZero and Dragon Knight, once adversaries, now worked together, their powers used not for battle, but for the betterment of the town. Ethan's parents, Doctors Jonathan and Marie Frost, alongside other scientists from Eternum Labs, contributed to the town's recovery efforts, employing their knowledge for healing and restoration. The lab, once the birthplace of SubZero, became a beacon of innovation for Winterhaven's resurgence. As Winterhaven healed, so too did the bond between Ethan and Victor. The Frost Dragon and the Fire Dragon, emblematic of their master's journey from conflict to collaboration, became guardians of the town in their own right. Their flights over Winterhaven were no longer patrols, but symbols of unity and protection, a promise of safeguarding the town from any future threats. SubZero's victory and the subsequent alliance forged in the aftermath were not merely the end of a battle, but the beginning of a new chapter for Winterhaven. Ethan, as SubZero, had emerged not just as a guardian of his town, but as a leader, a beacon of hope and resilience. His story, intertwined with that of Victor, the Frost Dragon, and the Fire Dragon, became a legend, a narrative of courage, redemption, and the enduring power of unity. Legacy of a Guardian. Winterhaven's recovery was remarkable, a testament to the strength and determination of its people. But the legacy of SubZero and Dragon Knight extended beyond the physical rebuilding of the town. They had sown the seeds of a deeper transformation within the community, one rooted in mutual support and collective strength. Ethan, reflecting on the journey from his transformation at Eternum Labs to the Guardian of Winterhaven, realized that his true power lay not in his ability to wield ice, but in his capacity to inspire and unite. His role as SubZero had evolved. He was no longer just a defender against external threats, but a leader guiding his town towards a brighter, more unified future. The Legion of SubZero and his Frost Dragon, alongside Dragon Knight and his Fire Dragon, became a beacon of hope for towns and cities far beyond Winterhaven. They stood as proof that even in the darkest of times, light could be found, that from conflict could come unity, and from destruction, a chance for rebirth. As years passed, Ethan continued to watch over Winterhaven, his dedication unwavering. But his legacy, and that of Victor, was not confined to their battles or their powers. It was etched in the heart of every Winterhaven resident, in the community that thrived because two once-opposed forces chose to come together for the greater good. Winterhaven, under the guardianship of SubZero and Dragon Knight, flourished. It became a symbol of resilience, a story told far and wide, inspiring others to find common ground, to build bridges rather than walls, and to face the future not as individuals, but as a united community. A new dawn. As the years turned, Winterhaven's legend lived on, a reminder of the time when ice and fire clashed, only to merge into a force for good. Ethan Frost, once a curious student of genetics, now stood as SubZero, the guardian whose very essence was intertwined with the fabric of his town. Mounted on his frost dragon, he patrolled the skies, a sentinel of peace, his legacy a testament to the belief that even in the coldest winters, warmth can be found in the hearts of those who stand together. SubZero and Dragon Knight, once adversaries, now allies, remained vigilant, their bond a symbol of hope and unity for all who knew their story. In Winterhaven, where the frost meets the flame, the legacy of SubZero and his frost dragon endures, a tale of ice and snow, fire and redemption, woven into the very fabric of a world forever changed by their passage.